walking towards God. And while that is obviously the goal, follow Christ and He will make all your ways straight, the reality is we're flawed, imperfect people. And while Christ has done a great work in us, it is nowhere near as great a work as He will be doing as we approach glorification. So as we walk this life, we inevitably make mistakes. We don't do the things that we should do, and we do the things that we shouldn't do, in the words of Paul. So how does this happen? And especially as we're a new believer, as we are moving through progress, we've talked about, you have your wrestling with God, and you've received benefits from that. Israel, Jacob, after this wrestling incident, kind of reconciles with his brother. Things are going much better. He moves to a place, sets up an altar that the Lord God is God, and really, really amazing. And then he comes to Shechem, and Shechem is a place of compromise. Shechem is a place of comfort, and he's personally doing well. It's a nice place. He considers, in many ways, it would seem like he was he was allowing himself to be very comfortable in an environment that was not comfortable for his religious beliefs and his faith. And what happens, as always happens whenever you compromise on matters of faith, you suffer consequences. And, it results in his children being used. It results in that he doesn't really stand up for what he believes well, and ultimately his children take the law into their own hands in order to satisfy justice. And I'd recommend looking up the story. It's Genesis 34. But all of that comes about because he compromised based off of a position of comfort. And as believers, as we're walking through this matters of faith, there's times we're going to be invited to compromise. And it won't be, the battle against the non-believer who's trying to get us to sin, obviously sinful. The biggest thing we'll struggle in is, given the opportunity to be comfortable at a price of compromising our faith. And God is still God. God is a God of redemption and forgiveness, and He doesn't just disown Jacob or Israel. He doesn't undo all that He's done. But the reality is that had long-standing consequences in the nation of Israel and His children. It resulted in two brothers being pretty much disowned, and they wound up far-reaching consequences. And that's what compromise gives. Compromise is something for comfort, and we compromise our faith. And it's easy to come to Shechem. Throughout your Christian walk, you will regularly encounter a Shechem, and how you handle it will not determine your salvation, though there are people who eventually the long road of compromise you can abandon. But most of the time, all it does is it invites hostile circumstances that you have to deal with and your children have to deal with. So don't compromise your faith for the sake of being comfortable. You weren't called to a life of comfort. You were called to a life of conviction. Let the comfort come from the Lord. Let the comfort come from His blessing upon you, not in the blessings of people who have strings attached.